Hi, Matt Stait here again from the Festival of Martial Arts, and today I've got with me Matt Chapman. Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. All good. Enjoying the sunshine that we're getting briefly in the UK.
Oh, yes, excellent. I hope it sticks around for the festival. That's all
That
I
would
can
be
say
ideal,
on
wouldn't it?
that.
That's what
Absolutely.
we need. We don't want to be training in the rain.
No, totally not. So, the first thing I always do with these is I ask the person, can they just give us a bit of an overview about who they are and what they do, just in case somebody hasn't heard of you?
I'll be disappointed if they haven't heard of me because I've spent a lot of money on marketing. But Matt Chapman, martial arts student for around about 37 years, instructor for about 25 years. Various systems I've trained in: kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, Jeet Kune Do, Filipino martial arts. Ran a full-time school for 20 years of about 400 members, which was doing really well. Sold that school about 5 years ago to go on to online courses and online teaching martial arts online, which is a bit of a controversial subject, shall we say. And now I run my online business and I help other martial arts instructors with their marketing and their growth. So it's kind of what I do in 30 seconds or less.
Okay, yeah. So that's a pretty long and extensive history, and from lots of different angles, and we'll hopefully pull some of that apart in a little bit. But if we just go back a little bit, and we talk about, because you used to have a successful club of your own at one point, and you decided to sell that on. What was the reasons for doing that?
Combination of boredom and
Okay.
wanting a new challenge. I'd been running it for a long time with my friend James, and it was just ticking over. We knew what to do. We knew how to get members in. We knew how to keep members. We knew how to utilize different revenue streams. So it's kind of like I needed a new challenge, something a bit different, something that would push me a bit more. And the online thing came along, and I started learning about it. And I was like, oh, this is really difficult. And as a lot of you know, it took me like an entire year to make my first sale of an online course. So I actually enjoyed that. I was like, wow, this is hard. This is harder than running a martial arts school and getting people in locally, because you're trying to sell your courses to people around the world. It could be Brazil, could be Japan, could be Australia. So that's a lot harder in terms of marketing. So I wanted to do it for the challenge. First year was horrific, didn't make any money, and eventually made one sale, and it started building from there. And now it's what I do full time.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. So the challenges have basically changed to an online world, which is kind of an interesting place to be, because you've sort of been at the forefront of that now for a number of years, before the dreaded C word that we don't talk about anymore, and before everyone was sort of forced into that world. You'd already got quite a good handle on that, and making that work for you.
Hmm.
So within that, then there's a lot of, as you mentioned there, there's a lot of people that still to this day think that it has no place in martial arts training. What do you think about
Well, they're probably lying, because they all went online and taught martial arts
that?
during the famous C word pandemic. Yeah, so we all did it, and we were forced to. And actually, we found out it's not as good as teaching people face to face. Obviously, we all know that, but it you can get people to a certain level, and you can keep people moving in the right direction through online training. But most of my online training is geared towards instructors. So I'm not trying to teach them how to do a stance and how to move. They already know all the basics. They know the body mechanics. They know how to strike. What I'm trying to do is give them extra tools in their toolbox. So for me, it's like, yeah, if I was starting with a white belt and I was trying to teach them via distance, it's not going to be as good as teaching them face to face. That's plain to see. But if I'm starting with an instructor who's already a black belt, then I can share lots of information online that they can pick up relatively quickly, because they know how to move their body. They understand balance, positioning, all of that sort of stuff. So for me, it's never been a problem. I think it's a good support to regular training, but it's never going to replace being in a dojo or dojang or a school with an instructor. But it can support that development.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Again, I agree with that, and so we wrote a book about it a few years ago and discussed it at length and the various elements of it and things, and so yeah, there's good and bad in everything. But for you, so when you say about teaching instructors, so whether it's a complete beginner in something or an instructor, somebody's been doing it for a long time, there's ways of teaching online that may differ from being in the room with a person.
Yeah.
So have you noticed that kind of things, and are there knacks that you use?
Yeah, you have to be more explicit with your instructions because you can't move a person. So what we tend to do as martial arts instructors is maybe we're teaching someone one to one or in a class, and we say like, turn your hand down when you punch. So rotate your knuckles into the punch, and they do something weird. So usually we grab them and we move their hand into position, but you can't do that online. You can't reach out through the screen and grab hold of someone and correct them. So what it does is it encourages you to get very, very clear on the instructions you're giving and the detail that you're giving, which actually makes you a better instructor as well, because you have to explain everything. So that's the main difference. It's about getting clearer with your instructions, more detailed, more accurate with what you say, so that people can get it on the other side of the world when they're.
You've frozen there. You froze there just for a second, but that's okay.
I'm back.
Yes, yeah, that's okay. Froze just for a second. So, yeah, we got the gist of that. So, but you're also now also teaching physical as well. You're back in a room. You're doing your seminars and things like that. And so, that's essentially your Mittmaster system, yeah.
Yeah, so the thing I miss about a school is not the moaning parents and the problems that you get and the staff issues and everything else that goes with running a martial arts school. What I miss is interacting with people and teaching them. So I do teach seminars up and down the UK and in Europe, on the Mittmaster system, on the pad drills that I've stolen from other people and developed myself. And that's, I get that buzz of being in a room and helping people and getting that interaction, which I kind of miss, because a lot of my work is kind of sat in my office like it is now, working on a laptop doing marketing and selling courses, but you don't get that interaction, that fun. And I love going to other people's schools, and teaching their students, because they're excited to see me, they're open and willing to learn, they, you know, the focus for those like 2.5 hours. And I leave feeling like all elated and all the good endorphins flowing through my blood system. I get my little bit of teaching that I need to stay sane and stay happy. So yeah, I do probably 2 or 3 seminars a month all over the place, just for friends and other martial arts instructors.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the seminar sort of feel is different to your day in, day out classes, aren't they? There's no
That's
question.
exactly it. Because I often see this. I go around to people's schools, and I know the instructor is an amazing instructor, and we're chatting about how they're getting on, and they're like, you know, they feel like their students don't really appreciate what they've got, what they're given. And this is human nature. We take things for granted if we're exposed to them too much. So the great thing about going into other people's schools is it's like they haven't seen me before, and they're like, who's this guy? And they're interested and they're engaged. I have a different way of teaching maybe than the instructor, so it's really rewarding for me.
Mm.
But you know, it's harder for the regular instructor. If you've been teaching the same people for 10, 15, 20 years, they can take you for granted a little bit, which is partially what was happening at my own school and part of the reason why I needed to move on. But that's how you're gonna deal with that. That's just people, isn't it? That's what they do. So
Well, yeah. I mean, again, that's part of the whole, isn't it? Is trying to figure out how to keep things fresh, how to keep things interesting, you know, how to maintain a sort of a good standard and so on and so forth. But then that leads us to the next thing, because you're a busy guy. I mean, crikey. You also, when you say about going into schools, it's not just to physically teach on the mats. You overview schools themselves and talk about it from a business point of view and how that can be bettered and create a, you know, a healthy school. So how does that look?
Um, well, most instructors are really good at teaching martial arts, but they're not so good at business, marketing, sales, all of that sort of side of it. The business stuff that we're not really taught on our martial arts journey. I love business and marketing, as you can see by the couple of hundred marketing books I've got behind me, because I consider marketing almost like martial arts. It's about positioning, it's about angle, it's about maximization of force, it's about focus. So I equate it to martial arts. But what I do is I go into martial arts schools, and do what I call a dojo doctor visit. So I'm like I come to their school and I prescribe what's wrong with their school and how they can grow it, give them the prescription, and then they go off and work on it. And I've had some good results with people, you know, improving their schools quite quickly, because part of the problem of running a school is you get caught in your own head of doing the same things in the same environment, and you're not open to new opportunities, new ways of doing things, different perspectives. Kind of get stuck in a loop in your head just doing the same things over and over.
Mm.
So if someone like me comes in externally and goes, well, why are you doing this, and have you considered that, and how about trying giving this a try, it kind of frees people's thinking up. They get a bit more creative, they get a bit more open, and that leads to more opportunities. So I go and visit martial arts schools, I have a chat with them about what's going on in their school, I ask a series of 30 questions that allow me to diagnose what's happening within the school, and then we kind of work together to try and fix it. And it's fun. And once again, it's like I go to lots of different places, I get to travel, which I like, get to meet new people, and I like hanging out with martial arts instructors because we're nice people who give a shit about other people. So it's nice for me just to get out of the house, and visit these people. So that's one of the other things I do.
Yeah. Because I
Lots
was
of
going to
things
say
I do.
I could keep going on, couldn't I? Because there's you started to in mentorship now as well, I believe.
Mm. Yeah. So some people like the one day visit is enough to trigger and give them the information they need to move forward. But for other people, they need the weekly accountability. So I currently do weekly accountability with 12 martial arts instructors. And can't take any more than full now. 12 is my max. And basically, we go through everything that's happening in that business that week. We look at their KPIs, so we're tracking everything. But the main thing is the accountability, because if you run your own school and you say you're going to do some marketing on Tuesday, and then instead you drink a couple of coffees and have a bit of a wander about, do some training, you're not accountable to anyone. So you kind of brush it under the carpet that you didn't do what you're going to say you're going to do for your business. And I'll do it next week or something. And we do this and we say this over and over and over. Same for me when I was running a business. So the accountability, I think, is key, because each week I sit down with my clients and it's like, this is what you said you were going to do last week. Have you done it? Show me. If you haven't done it, then we're going to have a chat about why you haven't done it. And it's really powerful because it just keeps them on track. Like they're just hitting the right numbers, they're hitting the right targets, they're setting goals and achieving them, because they know once a week they got to sit down in front of me, and have that tough conversation, which most people avoid having. So I think accountability coaching is really undervalued, because it
Yeah.
does
Well,
help people
we all
achieve.
do the same thing, don't we? We all basically play to our strengths and do the things we like doing,
Yeah.
and try and put off and procrastinate over the things that we don't. But also, and this is where the value comes in my opinion, is that as individual school owners, as people that are, if you like, the top of their tree in the sense of their organizational structure, quite often they don't have anyone to turn to when they hit a brick wall. And so so there's a lot of power in that as well, just having that someone to help with the logjam.
Yes, and that's it's the support and the accountability. You're right, because you might be running a large school by yourself with a team underneath you, and they're looking for inspiration, they're looking for motivation, they're looking for help, and it's all in your head and all the pressure is on you. You try and speak to wife and family or husband and family about it, but they don't really get what it's like running the business and being a martial artist. Plus, most martial artists I know are major control freaks. So they won't let go of stuff, even though it would benefit them to grow the business and give them more freedom and more time. So all of this is the types of conversations I have with them weekly, and it's amazingly powerful. They're in a better headspace. They know where they're going. They feel more confident. It's great fun. So I just do that as well because it's something I enjoy doing. You said I was busy. People seem to think I'm busy. I'm really not busy. I'm like not busy at all. So
I don't necessarily mean 70 hours a week at the grindstone. I mean,
no.
you've always got something new coming along, a different way of helping people, a different way of looking at things.
Right. Yeah.
And as for busy, you don't need to be busy, do you? Your Facebook ads do that all for you. I mean, I can't look at my phone without you pinging up in everywhere I go.
You need to just block me.
So no, I enjoy watching it. I enjoy seeing it. It's great. It's great that that's out there in the world. And so that brings us now to the festival itself. And so we're very fortunate to have you give us some time and come along. And so what is it that you're looking to showcase when you're there?
I think it'd be nice to hit some pads in a field somewhere. So we'll do some
Right.
Mittmaster stuff. So bring your pads, bring your gloves, and we'll do a couple of hours of, or however long I've got, of some fun pad drills that maybe people haven't seen before. So a bit of a sweat up. And secondly, I think I'll do a module on building a six-figure martial arts business, because I know most of the instructors in the UK, some are barely making any money from their martial arts schools. Some are kind of mid 5 figures in terms of their annual revenue, but there is a kind of formula for building your school to 6 figures based on certain modules that you need, and certain systems and certain processes that you need to have in place that altogether take you up to the next level. So I'll do a training on building a 6-figure martial arts school.
Okay, no, that sounds fantastic. Sure, something that a lot of people would be interested in, because one of the things that we're looking at with the business side of this, you know, it's not a business orientated conference, festival, what have you. It's, you know, it's designed to have something for everybody, but within that, we wanted to do some business and marketing related things from a point of view where it's palatable to people. So again, quite often there's this barrier for martial arts instructors that they're not supposed to make any money. I mean, you're meant to live in a cave and eat clouds. And it's trying to just sort of get past that a little bit as well, isn't it?
Well, that's historical, because of the whole martial arts came from monks generally, who were using it for, you know, spiritual development, and monks aren't allowed to work and make money. So monks are supposed to be looked after by the community. So that was probably passed on to their students, passed on to their students, passed on to their students, passed on to us. It's just a generational thing, but that doesn't make any sense if you are not a monk.
No, because I've tried knocking on the neighbour's door, you know, asking them to pay the mortgage, and they just won't have it.
No, yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I think I don't see a problem with making money from something you love and that you're great at and that you help people with. If you look at what martial artists do in the world, we do a lot of good. We help a lot of people. We help kids all the way up to adults with all sorts of problems in their life, and we're kind of a place where they can find safety and security and growth. That should be rewarded, whether that is, like, you know, people saying that you've changed my life, which is always nice, but also, you know, we all have bills to pay. We all have kids to look after, families to look after, you know, so why would you not make money from martial arts? Don't get it. I mean,
indeed, yeah.
If you're lowering the quality of your service to make money from martial arts, then that sucks. But you know, there's so many great schools out there that are making good money with really high level of martial arts instruction and producing quality students, quality instructors, and quality black belts.
And so that's part of what you'll be talking about
at
the festival itself, which is great. Yeah, and I'm sure that's something that I know I'd like to hear, and I'm sure lots of other people would too. So in the meantime, then, between now and then, how can people reach out to you if they want to contact you? This is a redundant thing. I say this to everyone, but there's, you know, as I say, you're all over Facebook. There's no need.
Search me on Facebook, go to mittmaster.com, and you can contact me from there. Or if you want to have a chat about something, send me an email, matt@mittmaster.com, and I can have a chat with you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for agreeing to come along and chatting today. And yeah, we really look forward to seeing you then.
I'll see you there, dude. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.